Oh, sorry about that. We had to put some new batteries in the camera. So that's how you would work around and around until you are at 15 inches, if your skeins are longer, or you're almost out of yarn. Now, here's what I would tell you to do. So let's switch to this one. Now, this is nearly complete. This is a little bit bigger tubing with just one cap on here. But what I did was, and I'm now in my 24th row, and this is a 100% wool yarn. Now, that's neither here nor there, but it's similar to woolies in that, you know, there's some elasticity to this. What I want to point out is, as you're getting down and you realize that your balls are almost done, you want to come back from the very end of your tail, very end of your ball, and you want to measure in 12 feet and make yourself a little slip knot. The reason you're going to do that is so you don't run out. You have 40 stitches on here. That's a lot of yarn. And I ran out on the black scarf before I thought I was going to. And I actually had to. And even, you'll notice this. Notice on one of the strands, here is my slip knot. And then another 18 inches later, I have a slip knot in the other strand. These aren't of equal length. Now, these are, and I know where that slip knot is, tells me that's where I really need to start my cast off. Well, I have like 10 or 11 stitches left here. So I have to make a judgment. Now, I gave myself 12 feet for my tail. Again, measured from the very end of my ball up to this and made this little marker. Now, I'm going to go ahead and finish this row and then show you the cast off, and I think I'm going to have enough. But if you ever get caught short like that and you have unequal lengths, I know that this one with the slip knot farther back, I have a little more length, and I can take these very ends of these tails. If I get down to the very last few stitches and haven't got quite enough yarn, do not take the whole thing out, and you don't have to take out the whole last row. Just make a Russian join and use the spare yarn from the longer strand and make your other tail longer. And I'm not going to go into that, but just look online. You'll read how to do a Russian join, and that will save you countless hours. Now, you will see from, oh, and by the way, this only takes 2 hours to make, so it's a really easy project. So here I am in my 24th row, and we're going to finish it up, and I don't know what stitch I'm going to make next, but I will as soon as I take it off. And again, here we are. This is my big V's, all my row of V's, my column of V's. So I need another front, and another front, and another front. By the way, this is beautiful yarn. This is Cascade, and it's a little more expensive, but if you want to start working with all wool yarns, there's a lot online that are really pretty. Okay, now here comes my little slip knot. I'm just going to take that out. And again, let's see where I'm at. So now I got to start my seed stitch section. I take it off, and I see I made a V here last time. Here's my bar way back there. So I need to make a bar. I need to make a back stitch. So there goes my bar, drop to the front. And I need a front stitch. Here's my bar. Here I need a back stitch. Here's the bar way back there. Here's a V. Now, and here's my last stitch. It's a bar. I need a V. Now I'm done, and I'm ready to begin my cast off. Now, before you do that, this is a good time to check your whole scarf. Because it's been laying out in front of you, you know, I tend to glance down the scarf as I'm making it, and you'll see it'll pop right out if you've made any mistake. So, but let's pretend we made a mistake. Let's pretend we made a mistake in this row, for example. Now, let's say I see a mistake, by the way, way back here, okay? Even over here. I don't want to take out that whole row to get to the mistake. I can fix the mistake as I'm casting off. Because to back up means I have to work my yarns, and this is what I've said about these caps. Unless you take and fill in that and create a taper here, the yarn, the stitches will want to catch up on that ledge, the lip of that cap. You want to create a little taper if you're going to push them back up. So it's easier if you have to back up, if you've totally messed up, to just slip the cap off and put it on the other side, if you get my drift. But now let's fix a mistake. So I'm hoping that this will show up. So let's just take this off and pretend this was the mistake in this row. And just pull out your working yarn and leave it over here. And now take your stitch, okay, and I'm going to spread these apart. In fact, I'm going to do that so you can see a little better. Now take out that. Take out this. Let's say I made the mistake way back here. All right. I don't want to go too far because it takes time and batteries, but okay, see I'm pulling these out. Okay? Now you say, uh-oh, or you dropped a stitch. That's very common. It unravels that far. Well, you know what your pattern is. Okay? So the last intact stitch that didn't pull out is right here. You see? And in the meantime, I see above it, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches that pulled out. You can see how these, I call it a ladder, just like the run of a pantyhose. So you get the idea that those will stay where they are. So you want to take this stitch that did not get dislodged. Okay, I'll hold it like this. And you can see that was a back stitch. It was easier if I just left it alone. A back stitch. Now, I know I need to make a front stitch. And if this yarn were finer or smaller, this is why knitters keep a lot of crochet hooks around. But I'm just going to do it with my fingers. So I start with the one that's here, and that was a back, so I need to make a front. Now I can either push that yarn through, you see, that was my front. Now what happens next in my pattern and seed stitch? I need a back stitch. So I come to my next ladder of yarn. This time I'm going to put it over so that it's laying on top of the knitting. And I'm just going to push it through, or you can hook it, however you want to bring that through. Okay, now I put it on my finger. I have 2 stitches left. Okay, I have a back, a front, and a back. Now I need a front, and I just come through and pull it through. Now I have 1 ladder left. That was a front, and I need a back. So I take this ladder of yarn to the right side of my knitting, and I make a back stitch. And that's how I fixed it. Now I've got it in my finger, and I can go ahead and knit it, and I need a front stitch. And then I can continue on. And that is how you fix a stitch when you've made a boo-boo. Now, I just made a big mistake because now I don't know where my cast off was. I guess maybe that was it. Is that where I had my stitch marker? I can't even remember now because I got to talking to you. I think it was, because I should end with that. So, now let's say this is my cast. I'll tell you in a second. Yes, this is my cast off now, beginning. So all you need to do is put this doodah back over here. Alright, and to cast off, you want to cast off in pattern. And we're going to just like we've always done. So you make your stitch, and you make another stitch, and then again you want these fairly loose, and then you take this stitch over. And you would continue around in pattern and go all the way around until you're done with the row. Then you'll have, you know how to do that, so I'm not going to keep going on that. When you get finished then, and you've tied off that very last stitch, you're going to have that weird jog where you ended. And all you have to do is take your tail, and you need a yarn needle. Okay, and make it a little easier. You can use your fingers or even a crochet hook. So now you have your tail, and you want to go under both legs of the first stitch you cast off. So that is here, this last V in the knitting, and you want to go front to back under those 2 legs of the last stitch, like so. And you want to go between the legs of the first stitch you cast off, or the last, you want to go to the, sorry, I'm saying that backwards. When you go under here, this is the first stitch you cast off, and this is the last stitch you cast off. Okay, so now you're there. And now this is the last stitch you cast off. You go between their legs and you go through here. And when you pull that up, you will fix the jog and make a little V there. It will look perfectly cute and you will never see that those are misaligned. And then don't forget, you have to go inside and take your, as we did in the video over the long seat stitch scarf, you want to take and you want to post those into the knitting and go far enough in, and then just sew that tail up into your, with the matching thread, just like we did in the lesson for the long seat stitch scarf. And you will have a super cute cowl. They'll make a great gift inexpensively and quickly. 2-hour project. Thanks for watching.